Chapter 1. The bell that signals the end of class rang. The students piled up one by the entrance. Paisley, come on. Hurry, before he leaves. A black-haired girl exclaimed, pulling a brunette alongside her. Their footsteps echoed through the hall more than the rest of the teens. God, Den, slow down, he's not going anywhere soon. Paisley giggled, following her very eager and excited friend. Hey guys, wait for me. A smaller girl pushed through the crowd of very excited students. You see, it was a Friday. Natalie, good, you made it just in time, Paisley said, stepping aside and letting Natalie go in front of her. He's here, Den yelled and squeezed Violet's hand. A boy around 17 was standing before them, waiting for the chance to shuffle out. The three girls were standing behind him, trying not to giggle at Den's eagerness. This was the girls' daily routine. Throughout the whole day, they chased Den's crush around the school. The girls finally made it out and stopped by the road for a few minutes. He's never going to accept my friend request. Den whined at the girls. Will you stop being so pessimistic? He'll accept it if he knows what's good for him, Paisley said, making Den burst into a fit of giggles. Let's go to heaven for some pancakes, Natalie said, making Paisley's eyes sparkle. Ha ha ha, look at her eyes. Den laughed, making the nearby students look at them. What? Food is food. Now let's go, Paisley said, already leading the way. The girls were laughing and talking about each other's exes. People were looking at them weirdly, because they were a funny bunch consisting of a girl so short she's always being mistaken as a preschooler, an indie rock fan, and a metalhead. They all had different styles and characters. Natalie was the shortest of the three friends and always resembled a cute doll. She might be a high school freshman, but her voice would say she was a preschooler. Then we had Den, an indie rock fan, so you're guessing, right, if you think she's an Arctic Monkeys fan. Plus throw in that she's an ultra energy drink junkie. And finally, we have Paisley, a hardcore metal fan that never left her house in a colorful outfit. She always wore black. The three girls went through the glass doors of the Cafe Heaven. They went to take their usual seat by the window. The waitress came over to take their order and left soon after. Paisley's phone vibrated in her jeans pocket and she pulled it out to see a call coming in. She groaned and slammed the phone on the table, almost breaking it. Faith? Den asked. Yeah, she just doesn't seem to get it into her head that I don't want to talk to her. At least it's not Charlotte or Eugene, Natalie piped in. I guess. Paisley shrugged. She took a deep breath and continued. I mean, seriously, Eugene is 2 years younger than us, and she clearly stated, and I quote, without the three of us, you had no one. You were alone and the girl that was always worthless. So stop with that shit that you're trying to do. You are not better than us. Which left me speechless. Like, hello, did you even look at what you were writing? Paisley could feel the rage build up inside her. She said that to you? Natalie asked, astonished. Yes. Only because I finally decided to get out of their shadow and carry on without them. You're kidding me? Den asked, her mouth slightly agape. Paisley shook her head and showed her the long text that Eugene sent her. I'll kill that bitch. How can she even talk like that to you after you helped her? Calm down, Den. Violence won't solve anything, Natalie said, patting Den on the shoulder. Natalie's got a point. As much as I want to hit them, I won't. I don't even see the reason of what we're fighting about, Paisley said, eyeing the guys that passed by the cafe. The waitress came back with 3 plates, each having a sweet treat on it. Den ordered a pancake with cherries and Nutella. Natalie ordered some form of chestnut puree, while Paisley had 2 slices of Nutella cake. I'll be right back with your drinks, the waitress said and stalked off to the counter. A few minutes later, she came back with 3 mugs of hot chocolate. The girls thanked her and started eating. I mean, just watch, my phone will vibrate and Faith's name will light up on the screen. The girls looked at Violet's black Huawei smartphone, and indeed, it rung with Faith's name on the screen. Answer it, Natalie blurted out. Paisley looked at her confused with her fork hanging from her plump lips. Answer it, make an appointment, and go talk, Natalie said. Paisley hesitantly answered her phone. Hello. Her voice was full of annoyance towards the other party. Paisley, listen about last Friday. Faith's voice could be heard by Den and Natalie. I don't want to hear it over the phone. Meet me tomorrow at the park around 4 p.m. We'll talk then. Paisley ended the call and sighed. She was so not ready for this. Even her appetite faded. What if Jane and Eugene come? They won't hesitate to bring their guard dogs with them. Guard dogs? Natalie asked. Yeah, you know my ex Stefan and his buddy Riven. Then we'll bring Igor and Brant, Natalie said, smiling. Plus, we'll be there as support. We won't let anything happen to you, Den said, smiling. I don't know, girls. I have a bad feeling about this. I mean, Charlotte was my best friend once. I know too much about her that she wouldn't like to seep out, Paisley said. She was really getting uncomfortable. Don't worry so much, nothing will happen. I promise. I mean, come on, Igor will be there, Den said. Yeah, they're practically going to piss themselves because of him. So take a deep breath and relax. Natalie smiled at her. Igor won't let a hair be touched on your pretty little head. Den winked and Paisley heaved another sigh. Her words were true. With Igor by her side, nobody dares to touch her. But the thing is, Den couldn't be more wrong right now. Chapter 2. Paisley was pacing up and down the bus stop, waiting for Natalie and Brant. Igor was watching the small girl inside. He knew this was stressing her, and she had told him about her bad feeling that grew bigger. Natalie's bus pulled up and a few people got off, including Natalie and Brant. Paisley's head snapped their way and she ran up to hug Brant. Igor stood up grunting and went over to them. Igor had to crouch down a little bit to give a hug and kiss on the cheek to Natalie. Hey man. Brant and Igor exchanged a manshake, while Natalie and Paisley hugged. The four then made their way towards the park, picking Den up in the process. You okay, kid? Igor asked Paisley. They were walking behind Natalie, Brant, and Den, watching them bicker about something. Paisley dragged her feet and heaved a sigh. You know, just because you're 3 years older than me doesn't mean I'm a kid, Paisley said, looking up at him. The boy was much taller than her, and his bright blue eyes stood out from his long brown hair. Igor was a metalhead, and Paisley's best guy friend. Sometimes they were even mistaken for a couple, which Paisley didn't really mind seeing that she had a crush on him for the last 4 years. Suddenly, Igor laughed at her answer. His laugh was rough and pleasant. But I'm not fine. I'm scared for some reason, Paisley said in a very low tone while looking up at the sky absent-mindedly. Igor ruffled her hair slightly. Don't worry, I'll protect you. Paisley smiled up at him. Natalie, Brant, and Den stopped, looking back at the two. We're here, Den announced, making Paisley shudder. Because of the season changing slowly to winter, it was already dark out by the time they made it to the center of the park. They looked around and Paisley could see Faith, Charlotte, and Eugene sitting on a bench in the darkness. Jane was sitting in Stephen's lap, shamelessly making out with him. Stefan left Paisley for Charlotte, just like all the other guys had. She took a deep breath, motioning for the others to follow her, and walked over to them. Every step she took echoed because of her boots making contact with the hard asphalt. Looky here, boys. Little Paisley finally made it. Big bad boyfriend didn't let you come alone? Eugene said, making them all giggle. Shut up, shitty kid. I don't have anything to talk to you about. Paisley sneered like a vicious cat. Wow, take it easy, Paisley, Riven said, standing up to take her in a hug. She glared at him, and that was enough to make him sit down and shut up. Calm down, Satanist. We didn't come here to fight, Eugene said. Paisley balled her fists and bit the inside of her cheek. Don't hit her. Don't hit her. Don't hit her. She replayed those words in her mind like some kind of mantra. Charlotte was smirking at her grinding along Stefan, while Faith was staring at her hands like they were holding God's head. Why did I have to come here and talk to this thing? I mean, look at her. She only wears black and nothing more. Stefan was cut off by Paisley's fist, grabbing his hair and pulling his head back. You are the last person allowed here to criticize me. She let his head go and turned to Charlotte. So, what do you want? I thought I made everything clear the last time we saw each other. Just because you got new friends doesn't mean you can act all high and mighty, Charlotte stated, pointing at the four behind Paisley. At least I didn't steal my best friend's boyfriend and lied to the whole city that she's a whore that will do you for the slightest amount of money, because that's how pathetic she is, Paisley said, pointing out the obvious. Igor let out an animal type of growl when he heard this. That's your own fault, Charlotte said, standing up, her quirky heels making Paisley's fist timer tick faster. If you just stayed the way you were, everything would have been fine, Charlotte said, bringing her face into Paisley's. Sorry for growing up and wanting to educate myself. not like someone. Paisley didn't back down. This action made Igor really proud of her. "Excuse me?" Charlotte asked, shocked. "I don't talk to people who didn't even enter high school. Talk to me when you do, 'cause you ain't cool if you end up as my cleaning lady in the future," Paisley said, pouting in her face. "Just because your dad is rich doesn't mean you should stay a stupid airhead for life." She then smirked and turned away, leaving this conversation and Charlotte for good. She smiled at Igor and the rest, but it faded in an instant. Igor's smile vanished, and a look of horror replaced his beautiful facial features. Paisley looked down at her stomach, her vision blurry. She saw a silver tip in her stomach. She could feel it being pulled back from where it came, and she fell to her knees. She saw Charlotte smirking with a bloody knife in her hand and spatting something at her. She started falling and Den caught her. Natalie was on the phone dialing 911, while the guys were nowhere in sight. Paisley felt pressure on her stomach and saw Igor's face. He was pale, but composed. She put her hand on his cheek, caressing it. Igor picked the small girl up and made his way out of the park, towards the paramedics. "I won't let you die, kid." The paramedics in the ambulance cut open Paisley's shirt and started stopping the blood. Igor was in there, silently watching her. After 15 minutes, Paisley was being led to an operation room. Paisley was tuning in and out, losing consciousness, her conscience making her hear things. Soon, Paisley's heart gave out and it was over. The doctors tried everything to bring her back, but it wasn't working. "Nurse, write it down. Time of death, 7 p.m. Cause of death, stab wound to the stomach through the back. Paisley. Paisley." I heard a soft voice calling me. "Paisley, open your eyes." I opened my eyes with lots of effort, but only saw blurry black dots. I looked to the side and saw a blurry figure with wings. "Do you want to live, Paisley?" the figure asked. His voice was so sweet. "Do you want to see the world differently?" he asked. "I want to have revenge," I said, making out a hand in front of me. "Be mine and you shall be free." I took the hand and fell into a deep sleep. The nurse was cleaning a scalpel when she heard a beeping sound. A steady beep. She turned around to see that the girl's heart rate was growing. She ran out and called one of the doctors back inside. He ran in with her and Paisley abruptly opened her eyes, first showing dark blood red ones, gasping for air until she settled down to breathe normally and her eyes going back to brown. The nurse ran out to find the doctor that went to inform the girl's family of her death. She caught him just before he was about to say the bad news. "Doctor." The girl is breathing again. Her heartbeat is back. She's alive. Chapter 3. The slight beep from the heart monitor filled the quiet room with sound. The small brunette was lying in her hospital bed, breathing through an oxygen mask. Igor couldn't take the sight of her. Paisley's classmates had sent flowers and a big panda plushie a few days ago. The flowers gave the dull room a bit of color. Igor was the only person in the room. Natalie and Den went home to sleep but promised to come back tomorrow. Brant escorted Paisley's parents to a nearby bakery for some food. He told Igor he'd bring him back something to eat. Igor held Paisley's small and bony hand in his. His beautiful face was slumped, and he had bags under his eyes. He was living on caffeine and energy drinks for the past 2 weeks that Paisley was in a coma. "How could I let something like this happen to you?" Igor was devastated. He blamed himself for Paisley's pain. "How could I be so stupid?" Igor hung his head in shame. The strong and emotionless Igor was now anything but that. Tears were spilling down his cheeks while he let out quiet whimpers of sadness. But there was one thing Igor didn't know. Paisley could hear him. She was trying with all her might to show him that she can hear him. She wanted to hug him so bad, as she did whenever Igor was mad or she needed him. He always told her that she gave the best and most calming hugs, which made her smile to know he liked one part of her. Her heartbeat increased as she knew what Igor would say next. "I am so sorry." Igor's apology made Paisley squeeze his hand a bit. Igor looked up and saw the small hand move slightly with the squeeze. His eyes wandered up at her face and saw Paisley peeking to adjust to the hospital lights. Igor shot up from his seat by her bed and could only stare at the now awake girl. "Paisley?" His voice cracked, which was unusual for him. Paisley's eyes slowly moved towards him. She blinked a few times and smiled weakly. "Hey!" Her voice came out as a whisper. Igor smiled at her and kissed her forehead. He looked into her brown eyes, seeing some reds mixing there, and got confused. He blinked a few times, and they were gone. The caffeine must be getting to him. He quickly went out to find a nurse so they can take the oxygen mask off of her. "Jod, how are you feeling, Paisley?" the doctor asked, taking some notes. Paisley had to blink a few times to get rid of the drowsiness from the drugs. "Good," she answered. What? Happened? To me?" Her question was barely heard, but the doctor still caught it. He looked at her mother, who was shaking her head, no. Paisley mustered up a glare at her. "Don't listen to her. Please, tell me." It was hard to talk because she felt really weak and sleepy. The doctor took a deep breath. "You got stabbed in the stomach and lost quite an amount of blood. When you got to the hospital, we did everything we could, but your heart stopped, and you were dead for about 7 to 12 minutes, he explained slowly. "You died." The final blow made Paisley experience a piercing pain in her stomach. She grunted and her mother came over to hug her. "Don't come near me," she hissed at her. The doctor looked at her mother and motioned for her to go out. "We'll let you sleep now," he said, and went out after her mother. Paisley knew who stabbed her, and her eyes turned to a bloody red color. She was mad and had a really big urge for revenge. She wanted to make Charlotte suffer for this. Her eyes turned back to the dull brown color and she laid down. The drugs made her fall into a deep sleep. Paisley opened her eyes to be met with darkness. She blinked a few times to see glittering stars in the distant night sky. She propped herself on her elbows and a cold breeze blew, making her hair flutter. Rose petals got caught in her hair as she stood up from the ground. She looked down and saw she was wearing a short black nightgown. Nothing more, nothing less. "Paisley," she turned around at her name being called, but there was no one there. "Paisley," the voice called again from a different direction. She then realized that she's in a maze like Rose Garden. A small shadow ran past her, making her jump. The shadow stopped in front of her, revealing a small dog-like creature with horns. "You," said. Paisley's eyes grew wide at it speaking. "Pee-wee's foul me," said. Paisley went after it. She admired the red roses, and every time she touched a bud, it would instantly open and reveal its beauty. When the small thing stopped walking, she found herself looking at a black throne covered in red ruby stones. There was a big rose in front of it that resembled a pillow. A person was making its way towards her. She went closer, but quickly stopped when she saw him. "Paisley." It was the same voice that was calling her. "You were calling me?" Her sentence came out as a question. The man slightly chuckled, taking a seat on the throne. Paisley took in the man's features. He was tall, much taller than Igor. His hair was longer than hers, and a few strands were falling in his deep red eyes. Paisley noticed his eyes were pulsing when they met with hers. She blushed a deep shade of red and looked down. "Take a seat, my dear." He pointed at the big rose behind her. She sat down and quickly caught the small thing that led her here in her hands. "You like it?" the man asked. "Yes." "He's very, interesting," Paisley said, smiling down at the small purple animal. "What is it?" "It's a dragon," the man said simply. Paisley took a good look at this dragon. "Hello again. My name is Dracu. Nice to meet Cha Viawet." It spoke. Paisley couldn't resist to crush him in a bone-crushing hug. "You are so cute." The man laughed quietly. "Do you know where you are?" he asked. "Not really. But are you the person who saved me?" she asked. "That's right. But I did not save you, my dear. I just merely gave you another chance." "Who are you?" The man smiled, showing a sharp set of teeth. "Are you sure you want to know, my dear?" Paisley nodded, not trusting her words. For the man in front of her was breathtakingly beautiful. "I've had so many names. Old names that only the wind in the trees can pronounce." Paisley was looking at him, amazed. She already knew what his next words would be, but she never expected to meet him personally, let alone for him to give her another shot at life. "I am Lucifer." Chapter 4. "You're the devil?" Paisley asked, looking into the man's deep red eyes. "Yes?" She stared at him quite a while before Lucifer spoke up. "My dear, are you not satisfied with my answer?" "Wait, no. I just imagined you differently," she trailed of. Lucifer chuckled at her answer. "Can I ask you something?" Paisley said shyly. "You do not have to shy away from me, my dear. Ask freely." Paisley took a deep breath, pressing Drackle to her chest more. Why did you save me? Lucifer blinked at her a few times. I felt like it. That's not a reason. Paisley frowned, making Lucifer smile. You had a really alluring soul. You didn't know it, but you were so mad and vengeful in that moment. I just had to give you a helping hand. He set his gaze, never leaving Paisley's. She looked down at the dragon in her arms. Drackle nested himself in Paisley's arms, making some kind of purring noise. The girl giggled at the purring dragon. Her eyes softened. Thank you. Her voice was soft and innocent. My dear, don't thank me. I know. My life comes with a price, and I'll do anything under one condition. She gazed up at him. Lucifer seemed intrigued by the small creature before him. And what may that be, little one? Let me get revenge. Her eyes held so much determination that it took the demon aback. Even if you turn into a monster. Now he was amused. No mortal was this driven when he made a deal with them. It's a risk I'm willing to take. Lucifer smirked at this. This girl had the strength to join the Deathbringers. She was ready to become death itself. He stood up and walked over to her. He bent down and tipped her chin upwards so her eyes could meet his. His lips touched hers, molding with them perfectly. His kiss sent a burning sensation through Paisley's body. She felt like hell was inside her. The deal has been made. Welcome to the undead, Paisley Kennedy. Paisley awoke to shuffling in her room. She looked down to see Den and Natalie asleep by her bed. She saw Brant across the room, sitting in a chair staring at a balloon that said, "Get well," while Igor was nowhere in sight. She sat up, not feeling numb nor weak anymore. She felt something heavy on her legs and saw Dracul gazing at her with his big yellow eyes. Drackle. She smiled, picking him up and cradling him in her arms. He made that purring noise to which Paisley's smile grew wider. He seems to like you, someone said from beside her. Her eyes landed upon a blonde-haired man. He was casually leaning in a chair, his blue eyes twinkling at her. She blushed a little bit when he smirked at her. Who are you? Paisley asked him. For some reason, she wasn't intimidated nor scared by him. I'm Luca, your new best friend. He smiled, a toothy grin, showing of his cannies. What do you want? I'm here to help you on His Highness' order, he said, leaning towards a very confused Paisley. He means Master Lucifer, Drackle said from the girl's arms. She nodded slowly. We have a lot to teach you, baby girl, Luca said, leaning in more, his lips brushing Paisley's jawline, making her blush even more. We? She asked, confused. That's right. Luca leaned in more towards her ear. His hand was making a move towards her waist. Who are you? A threatening voice came from the door. Luca moved away to look at the figure that stopped him. Igor, Paisley whispered, her blush moving up all the way to her ears. Luca glanced between them and smirked. He stood up and kissed Paisley on the cheek. We'll talk later, baby girl. His blue eyes sparkled at her, and he left the room, leaving behind a very embarrassed Paisley. Who was he? Igor asked, taking Luca's seat by her bed. Just a friend. She answered, thinking back to her encounter with Lucifer. Den and Natalie woke up, and instantly they hugged Paisley. They started talking, and Den was crying, which made Paisley smile sadly. She wiped her tears and cooed her like a mother would to her baby. Igor looked at Paisley sadly. She wasn't talking as much as she used to. Since she found out that she died, it made her literally mute. Igor was missing his bubbly little metal head too much. Jod, how are we feeling today? The doctor asked Paisley. 3.5 weeks have passed since Paisley came to the hospital. If today's tests go well, she'll be allowed home. Luca was visiting her every day since her encounter with Lucifer. They became close really fast. But for some reason, Igor was agitated with Luca. Good, she muttered, petting Dracul. A few days ago, she found out that people see Dracul as a small dog. She caught herself not talking much, just giving short replies that made her mother pissed of. Well, Paisley, tomorrow you can leave the hospital, but you are bedridden for 2 weeks, the doctor said, and left the girl with her parents. Violet's mother smiled happily and tried to hug her, but she evaded it. Stop doing this already, she said. Stop showing me your affection, when I didn't even exist till I got stabbed. She yelled at her. Her mother cringed and hung her head. She left the room, slamming the door. You okay? Paisley's father asked her. No, I really don't want to stay with her anymore. She'll only yell and beat me when you leave for work. What can I do, sweetie? Let me move out, she said, looking at him pleadingly. Luca, he's a friend of mine that has a spare room. Paisley got offered to stay with Luca a few days ago, so he can keep an eye on her. He told her that she was gifted with powers thanks to Lucifer, and that he and his friend could teach her how to harness them. Paisley, sweetie, I don't know. You're 15, moving in with a guy who lives alone is risky. Violet's eyes turned red as she looked at her father. Her voice held authority and danger. Let me move in with Luca, and don't bother me about it. Yeah, all right, her father said and left the room. Wow, I didn't know you liked me that much. Luca whistled. What do you mean? You just used one of your gifts on your own father. Just so you can move in with me? I kind of feel really proud right now. Well, you'll be serving me for 2 weeks, so I can't wait to see that. She smiled up at him, making him chuckle. Oh, you'll enjoy it. Trust me. He leaned in and brushed his lips over hers, making Paisley blush madly. Chapter 5. See you in 2 weeks, Paisley, Natalie said, waving. Paisley only nodded and waved goodbye to her friends as she waited for Luca to come and pick her up. Soon, a black Jeep pulled up at the hospital entrance, and Luca jumped out the driver's seat. He quickly picked up Paisley's bags, putting them in the trunk. He then helped Paisley get in the back seat. You ready? He asked, starting the engine. Paisley was lying on her back. She extended her left arm and showed Luca a thumbs up. Luca chuckled and sped off. Demi spazzed. Luca pulled up in front of a row of houses. He dangled the keys, killing the engine in the process and walking out. He got Paisley's bags out of the trunk and slumped them over his shoulder. He then proceeded to get Paisley in the house. He opened the back seat door. Paisley was up in a sitting position, and Luca snaked his right arm under her legs and his left arm on her lower back. He pulled her towards him and picked her up bridal style. Paisley squealed a little, but quickly kept quiet when she felt Luca's chest vibrate with laughter. He closed the car door and headed inside, through the big house gates. The house was pretty big. 3 bedrooms, 1 living room, a kitchen, a bathroom, and a really big yard. Luca set Paisley down on the white, fluffy couch while he went to leave her bags in her room. Paisley quickly took in her surroundings. The couch was molding with the big, dark blue wall behind it. The wall was decorated with white cherry blossoms. That was the only color-splashed wall in the room. The rest were plain white. There was a big TV across the couch with a full-blown stereo system. There was a small coffee table and a cute fireplace as well. It was a really dull living room with not much furniture in it. But there was one thing in particular that caught her attention. A set of glass double doors that led out to the patio. There was a small fireplace that looks like a bonfire out there. There were couches and chairs surrounding it. It was beautiful. It was already night out, so the room was falling into a deep state of darkness. All right, your bags are set in your room, so do you want to? Luca stopped mid-sentence as he looked over at Paisley, who was absent-mindedly watching the night sky through the big patio doors. He sat down next to her. He pulled her into his lap and looked at her beautiful face. How are you holding up? He asked her, caressing her arms. Somehow, she answered, leaning into him. When do I get to meet your famous friend? Right now, a female voice exclaimed, coming into the living room. Paisley looked towards the door to see a beautiful white-haired girl with pigtails. Her deep sea green eyes twinkled exactly like Luca's when she first met him in the hospital. I'm so happy to finally meet you. The girl sat down next to her and Luca. I'm Mina, by the way. Welcome to our home, she said. Paisley shied away from the energetic and stunning girl. Nice to meet you, she said. Mina's eyes sparkled with joy, and she pulled Paisley into a gentle hug. You are so cute, she exclaimed. Paisley blushed at the softness of Mina's chest. That's enough, Mina. Stop hogging her, Luca said, pulling Paisley back into his embrace. Sorry, hotshot. Mina put her hands up in surrender. So, Paisley, do you want to watch a movie? Mina asked while Paisley nodded. She was really glad that Mina wasn't asking questions on how she's doing or what happened. All right, which shall we watch? Luca asked. Let's see what we can find, Mina said, turning the TV on. She flipped through the channels like a maniac until she landed on Twilight. Oh God, not this again, Luca said, leaning his forehead on Paisley's small back. Shut up. Twilight is a good movie, Mina argued. Edward's cute. Don't you agree, Paisley? I'm not into the whole Tinkerbell Edward crap. Yes. Finally, my people, Luca said, giving Paisley a kiss on the cheek. But you watched the movie, right? Mina asked, hopeful. Only for the shirtless Taylor Lautner scenes. Paisley shrugged. Oh, so you like guys like that? Luca arched his brow. Okay, I can work with that. He put Paisley down next to him while he pulled his shirt off. His defined abs made an appearance, and Paisley blushed madly and hid behind Mina. Hey, don't hide now. Luca pulled her to him again. Her whole face was a red mess. Her brown eyes turned red again, and Luca's eyes widened a bit. He touched her lips to feel them burning. Paisley, did you kiss His Highness? He asked. Yeah, that's how we sealed the deal. Why? She was confused. Luca smirked and gave Mina a look. Mina returned it with a smile. Paisley was starting to feel dizzy from the burning inside her body. Luca's fingertips moved over Paisley's full pink lips, slowly caressing them. This action made Paisley shudder. He pulled her face towards him and kissed her. This ignited an unexplained fire in Paisley. Mina and Luca felt hot. Paisley was releasing her hormones in an abrupt manner, making everybody near her feel pleasured. Mina pulled Luca's head back, panting. Stop this! Her hormones are unbearable! Luca was panting as well, feeling something incredible. So, she does have that gift, he said. Yeah, she has more than just that gift, Mina said, caressing Paisley's cheek. Her eyes turned back to brown as she calmed down. She was now just staring at them blindly. All the energy she had was gone. She just wanted to sleep. Paisley, you really are cute, Luca said, kissing her on the nose. He picked her up and carried her to her room. Mina tucked the small girl in and sighed. We are going to have a lot of work to do here, she said. Yup, Luca said. Are you going to take care of that? Mina asked, still watching Paisley sleep. Luca looked down at his pants and sighed. This is going to be a big problem in the future.